Alrighty. Switch the stuff that needs to be switched. I kind of just had an idea for tonight. That was the wrong button. No, I do not want to watch South Park right now, computer. I kind of wish I did want to. But man, the new seasons, they're so political. And there's nothing wrong with being political. I just don't want to watch that right now. You know, I in many ways appreciate what South Park is doing with its politics, but I also don't at all, because I kind of just want to watch a funny game, not even funny game, funny TV show. All right. Topic of today's stream. I kind of got a random thought, and I wanted to do it. I was on the subreddit recently, and someone posted being like, "Hey, does anyone have a seed for a world of a specific that looks specific?" And in this case, it was a world that has sort of a ring of mountains, a flat area, and then a mountain in the middle. As you can see, someone did have one. Actually, two. But I thought this one was the one I'd go for. The other one was reversed, where it was more traditional jagged peaks and then a snowy peak. But that didn't feel quite right, especially because this is pretty high up in the world, right? I don't think things can really generate much higher than this. But I wanted to build a cool castle. So this stream will be planning for Castle Frostmourne, which will be situated atop this mountain. I'll probably put some stuff down here too. It would be nice if this area was larger. You know, like if this valley had more room in it, because it's a pretty thin valley, and that's not ideal. But that's fine. Also, if you get a few jitters, I'm at a render distance of 60 chunks, so I want to be able to like see everything. It can be lower. That's just what it's at. So I'm gonna kind of name the wolves I have, sort of to cover like what I'm doing with each one. More so I remember than anything else. This will be like, wait, let me change music and sounds. This is gonna be like fundamental stuff, right? This is gonna be roads, roads, bridges. This is, I guess, that's nice structure. There we go. Defenses. God damn, I'm really bad at this. I'll just call it defense. This is gonna be So this is sort of like your very basic roads, walls, gardens. Gonna have some of those. You gotta look pretty. Actually, maybe I'll do Fletcher. Culture. God damn it. Never type on street. This will be sort of water stuff. This will be like waterfall because I'm gonna clear out most of the waterfalls that are here because there's a lot of them. And like that's bad. Look, that does not look good. Look at that. That's not good. It's too wide. Like all of these become like look. This starts from one block and becomes 5 blocks across down to like 10. That's not good. Brown wool. Brown wool. I guess let's call this town. This will be actual like castle, like the keep, sort of castle buildings. I don't know for these. Put those away. But the basic idea is basically if you've ever seen or read Game of Thrones, this is going to be pretty heavily based on the Vale of Arryn. So basically, which is built like this. There's a lot of room in between the walls and the castle of the Vale, but the idea is there, where it's thought to be completely unbreachable. The Vale is considered the safest castle in the Seven Kingdoms because to get to it, there's only 2 ways to get to it. Look at that! Wow, we have a door right next to each other, and those ways are to go through the mountain pass, which is very dangerous because there's a bunch of fucking, I don't want to call them savage. They're savage tribes. There's a bunch of savage tribes. Look at this shit. What the fuck? That looks completely terrible. There's a bunch of like mountain tribes who just want to kill you. And once you get, if you manage to get past them, definitely. Oh, that's really pretty. But the idea of this like flowing through. Wait a minute. Hold on. Where is this? Here. Be around here. Like flowing down into this cave, in and around. That's really cool. I just want it to be more controlled. Kind of blocking off this. Oh wait, hang on. I've got wool for this. I've got wool for waterworks. And yes, natural waterworks count in this version of this classification of wool. And then it kind of goes down. Cut off some of this. This pretty heavily. This way. Oh. What was I talking about? Vale of Arryn. Right, so you get past the mountain tribes, and then you get to the Bloody Gate. Named as such because... Oh, there's a spawner there. Named as such because literally dozens of armies over the 1,000 or so years the Aarons have held the Vale, have attempted to take it, and all of them have failed. The Bloody Gate is simply too much. It's too well protected. It's just a massive choke point that covers the one entrance. So you either have to blow it up, which is impossible, because the path leading to it is like 10 feet wide. You can fit like 3 dudes there. Getting a siege weapon there, almost impossible. Getting the men to run the siege weapon and the siege weapon, functionally impossible. So it's just basically impossible to get through the Bloody Gate, and no one ever has. But if you then do, you then have to get through the entire Vale, which is basically just like a low point. It's basically this, just spread out. You know, feel like it's there's actually a lot of like agriculture and stuff that happens there. And then you have, I don't remember what the mountain is called. It's called like the Snowy Spear or something. It's got a cool ass name. And atop it rests the Eyrie, a castle built into the mountain itself. Pretty small as far as castles go. The TV series had it as a pretty large castle, but in the books it's noted to be very small. Not like, but we're not talking some tiny little, like, it's still a castle. But if you compare it to the other castles of the Seven Kingdoms, it's not. It's very small. Like the Great Keep of, or the Great Hall of, the Hall of 100 Hearths. I'm fucking up all my names tonight. In Harrenhal is probably, you know, a quarter the size of the entirety of the Eyrie. It's really not very big. Also, when winter hits, you can't live in the Eyrie. It's impossible. It freezes basically completely and becomes entirely unlivable. But that's fine. You don't need the castle half the time. Actually, it's probably averages to half the time. But anyway, to get to the Eyrie, that's the second major challenge. Nobody's gotten through the Bloody Gate before. But if they did, nobody would have ever gotten to the Eyrie. Because to get to the Eyrie, you then have to climb the entire fucking mountain, which is guarded by 3 gates. The Gate of Stone at the bottom, which is basically a full, you know, we're talking, it's just like a full keep, right? Very large, garrisoned by probably 100 men. Like, what are you gonna do? If you've already gotten this far, you might be fine. That's my butt. That's fine. I don't need to be able to see. Nobody's ever gonna be down here anyway. And then after that is the Gate of Snow, which is much smaller but still formidable. Still a toughie to get through. And then at the very top you have Sky, which is in the, like, self-described in the book, is basically like a half-assed wall with a shitty gate in the middle. Like, we're talking like the kind of gate you'd see on a cemetery in a horror movie. Like, shitty, rusted, wrought iron gate. Because at that point, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, if you've somehow made it up the entire fucking mountain to that point with people still alive, and you can get through this last gate, God damn it, you've probably earned it. And you should probably be Lord of the Vale. Because, good God, you've done something dozens of kings could not do. The only reason that the Vale ever fell in any way was because of Aegon the Conqueror, and he had fucking dragons. And his sisters. Never forget his sisters. They also had dragons. They each had one dragon. All three of them. They each had a dragon. Actually, I might notate. Pretty. I've already lost the lava pool. There it is. Probably use this. Let's see. Maybe town. Where am I? On the mountain. No, that'd definitely be castle. Because the entrance is going to be about here. About where this cave is. Maybe lower will be the tunnel through. This will be sort of like... So there will be a bridge. Like, tunnel will be here. It'll probably kind of go to here. And then bridge across to here. Will sort of be your first kind of buildings of the town, which will then sort of steep down the sides of the mountain. And then I think basically everything from here-ish will be the actual Castle Frostmourne. Where you sort of have like... actually, let me draw this out. This is good. If you're ever talking about a plan and you're like, wait a minute, am I gonna remember this? Just draw it out. You sort of have like a road of some kind coming up here. This is a very rough bunny. And then it'll sort of kind of curve around here. You get to here, to go up here, which will then lead to sort of the drawbridge gate here. This will be defensive. The amount of times I have... Look, alright. Major building item here. Literally a fucking oak sign. Very helpful. Gate. I guess this will actually go kind of here. This can be extended out. It probably will. Probably be extended out to here-ish. Maybe a little further. And then this will be sort of a drawbridge, portcullis. There's my sign. There it is. Drawbridge. Into the gate. See, that lava pool was here. So the road will sort of come up this way. Sort of here. Sort of like maybe like a side path here. Up. And then this will sort of be like barracks. Because building a castle here, you're expecting it to be completely impenetrable by nature. A castle surrounded by mountains into a valley built on top of a mountain should be completely unbreachable. Using technology of the era of castles. Right. Oh, wait. Actually, hold on. This is very important. Also, who we say new spawn eggs? Huge W? This is the wrong one. Why is my audio level so fucked? Oh. Wow. Right. Okay. So, something like this should be unbreachable, right? let's say you get through. So this will be sort of like the lead up to the gate. Will be this valley, right? Maybe even like it'll be a bridge across or something. I'll figure that out. Actually, might be pretty. Have a bridge from here to here, even more unbreachable. Layers of unbreachability. Because then first there'd be a keep here, right? Like a gatehouse. So you'd have to breach into the gatehouse on top of a hill. High ground is so unbelievably important, especially something so steep, because that means the pathway up to it is likely a switchback. So if you are trying to climb a switchback as a hostile invading force, all the enemy has to do is be on top of the switchback shooting down at you. Yes, you can shoot up. Shooting up's a lot harder than shooting down, though. And then a large bridge. We're talking, whether it be 100 meters, about 300 feet of bridge. Maybe a little less. Somewhere around there. You're completely open. If the castle decides to send people up here or here or here, or there's an extra garrison here that's kind of like waiting in the wings, they can just pick you off. Cool. You somehow make it past all of this. At this point, you have no siege weapons. They were either used up or left behind at the gatehouse. There's no way to get them through. Oh, look at that cool portal. I love those big ruined portals. Those are great. So you get through. You may be like, oh, just scale the mountains. How the fuck are you going to scale these mountains? Not possible. Scaling, impossible. Zero chance you're getting over these mountains without dying. And even if you do, you then have to get back down. And then get back up. No siege weapons. So basically, you're going to attack a castle. A full castle. No way to get into the gate. No way to... You're probably low on resources. Because you've just gotten through another castle that'll be here. You've just survived an onslaught. This tunnel can be protected. You can have murder holes, which are pretty self-explanatory. That's where like you pour hot oil on people or shoot them. Like kind of like you have like a gatehouse and like above the gatehouse, right? Gatehouses are taller than the gate. So you bring the gate up, and they're also a lot wider than the gate. They're more like a tunnel. And so as they're walking through the tunnel, you pour hot oil or shoot them or drop rocks on them or, I don't know, yell at them. Psychological warfare? I don't know. There's a number of things you could do. And then they have to go all the way down to the valley. They have to go all the way up. At least in the Eyrie. I probably won't do that. The valley will definitely be more protection, less useful. Right? The Eyrie uses its... the Vale is the valley. Right? Like, I mean, the whole area is called the Vale. But if we're being honest, it's the livable valley in between the large mountain range that surrounds them, which... I don't remember what those are called. Well, maybe they don't have a name. I'm thinking of the Frostfangs, but those are... Which I was going to name the castle, but I didn't. I think Frostmourne is cooler. The Frostfangs are far in the north, past the wall. Because within the Vale, you have several highborn houses. You got Lords of the Vale, and it's livable. It's agricultural. The top of a goddamn mountain. You look at this shit. I mean, this is actually a perfect example. Right, like the Vale is like this, all green, grassy. You grow things. The Eyrie is a fucking barren mountain to the point where they tried to make it God's Wood with a weirwood in the center, which I will do, but they couldn't get weirwood to grow, which sucks because they're awesome. And look at this! Look at these guys. They got their own little village here. These are the devious attackers. Is that a new building? Hold on. Is this a new building? They had a new building to villages? Wow. That's pretty cool, actually. Good job, Mojang. You added one new Plains Biome village building? Holy shit. All the time between updates, it makes sense. It's all worth it. I'm kidding. It totally has been. I've kind of liked the new updates. I haven't used Mountains of Mayhem, like, at all. I've not played that. But it's pretty cool. I like that finally zombie horses are in the game. Maybe they'll actually add giants finally. A man can dream. Ugh. As long as I stay near the castle, I won't be running into much lag. It's generating all the new chunks as I fly around. Man, I kind of wish you could like turn on Insta Break in creative. You know, instead of having to do all, instead of just having to click really aggressively, you could just insta mine. I guess you can create nice tools. The fence. That was wrong. That's fine. Ooh. Go straight across because I don't feel like building on a diagonal. I have done that before. It is bad. I do not like doing it. I will if necessary, but please do. About here. Yeah. I think this is obvious. See? Tunnel start. Might as well. Ooh, coal. You know, Minecraft's ore generation is really fascinating, where the iron spawns more the higher up you go. So if you do find biomes like this, you're gonna find so much iron. It's crazy. I have somewhere on my computer the Jesus, this is a big goddamn tunnel. If only I still had my free cam mod, but it was breaking everything, so I had to uninstall it. Oh wait, I can. Damn. There's too many button conflicts when you have large amounts of mods. Keyboard only has so many buttons, unfortunately. Okay, wait, hold on a minute. It's a pretty thick portion. It's about as thin as. I mean, I guess I could go diag. That's for later. It's fine. It's. Alright, so, like I was saying, path will then. Over here. And I don't know if I want like switchbacks or something here. Or kind of just up, 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 around. No, I think maybe like right through. Then be sort of the start of the castle. Maybe, I think at this level will be the start of the castle. I think maybe kind of wander around for the staircase up here. Then, or I guess actually this would be purple and red. Okay. Barracks. Entry. Where over here you sort of have kind of the first watchtower. Watch tower. Because let's be honest here. I mean, when building something like this, watchtowers aren't very important. You kind of, any tower in a castle like this, I mean, if you look at this tower, right? It's built up however many blocks that is. Look at how much you can see. You can see, well, I mean, there'll be a lot of castle right here, but for the most part, this from here to here is a completely clear viewpoint, including a perfect viewpoint of your entrance and the path to your bridge. Perfectly clear. No obstruction whatsoever. Now, the problem with a valley this thin is it would build up fog like a motherfucker. Fog loves valleys. Now, I think actually this would be high enough to itself not get a whole lot of fog. This actual valley would probably every morning be completely filled with fog. But that's fine. We don't have to pay attention to that. It's Minecraft. I do actually want to see where this spectator. What? Where is this? Over here. Really? All over here. That's not the worst. Like there's a reason that people say the Vale is impenetrable. Truly. There's a good reason. Well, impregnable. It's because how the fuck are you going to? Right. If you get all the way through all of this, now you're standing here with your invading army that, once again, probably does not have any siege weapons of any kind. Because you can make these tunnels and paths and bridges thin enough to not allow them. You don't need them. Why a castle doesn't need siege weapons? Mostly because if I were building this castle, you can just build a goddamn siege weapon in the castle, right? Like right there, you could put a ballista or a catapult and destroy anything standing here in an instant. So you don't need to move them. You can just make new ones. You have time. Invaders don't have time. The one problem with this would be being besieged. It would be comically easy to besiege a castle like this, which is actually part of the value of making a castle like this so small. A big castle is hard to besiege because it's too big, right? The two hardest to besiege castles in Game of Thrones are, well, first, no one can besiege the Eyrie. It's impossible. You cannot survive the Bloody Gate. The mountain tribes are coming at you from the back. The people of the Vale from the front, and also they have farms and shit. It isn't just a castle. You're besieging the entirety of the Vale. It's impossible to besiege the Eyrie, which is the castle. This one would be a lot easier, right? You're kind of just block off the tunnel and, oh no, you're besieged. But a small castle can store a lot of food, but doesn't use very much. If you put a lot of your internal space into storage, besieging will be unnecessary. And also, pretty hard. If you had a castle like this, getting communication out would be trivial. Usually, they use ravens. Crows are ravens. Easy to train, relatively intelligent. I say easy to train. Easier to train than other birds. Relatively intelligent, far-reaching. They're great for that specifically. Very little else, except for eating carrion. They're very, very good at that, unfortunately. But a very simple thing you can do to most castles is shoot them all, right? The hardest to besiege castle in Game of Thrones, beyond the Eyrie, is the Twins, because it spans a river. It's a bridge. So you have to have people at one side of the bridge and the other side of the bridge at the same time, and people watching the river. Almost impossible. And you can't really stop them from communicating unless you know exactly where their rookery is, and assuming they only have one on one side, which would be really stupid, but I think they do, because that's a lot of crows. They're hard. I think they're ravens, and they're hard to take care of because it's a bunch of fucking birds. Not the easiest. Perfect. But this castle, let's say the rookery's here. That's actually pretty. Maybe here or here. What are they gonna do? Shoot it down? They're half a kilometer from your birds. They can't stop you from communicating. Be like, hey, there's bastards at our door. Can you come fuck them up, please? They cannot stop you. Basically, if you're going to build a castle and you have the time, men, and resources, I guess in this case, men count as resources, to build it in, and the actual place to build it in something like this, this is about as good as it gets. Like, as it has many negatives. Like this bastard. Look at him. Sinister. Plotting the downfall of humanity at this moment. Those soulless eyes. Back here. I'm reading the content of your soul. There's none. He does not have one. Simply cruelty and anger given form. Anyway, there are problems with this. First, you live on a mountain. That's tough. I've lived in the mountains before. It's tough. Even during the summer, it's tough. That's the great thing about Game of Thrones. I think that's why the Vale functions, is because it's summer half the time. It goes summer. Autumn is like 6 to 8 months long. Spring is 6 to 8 months. But the summer is literally years long sometimes, if you're lucky. Usually it's usually at least over a couple of years. Every now and again there's a long summer, like the one that's happening at the very beginning of Game of Thrones is like 12 years long or something. Just pure summer. Nothing but summer. All just nice weather. Don't ask how that works. It's literally magic. It's fine. But on a more normal level, it's building on a mountain like this is definitely a bit of a risk. First, it would just take decades to build. Right? I think that's why there aren't big bridges around the Eyrie, and mostly because that's not how the Eyrie works. But if you had a bridge from here to here, which I'm going to do because it'll be awesome. Do you know how hard that would be to build? That would be nightmarish. Endlessly nightmarish. And then, how hard is it to build a castle? Normally? They take decades. Normally. We're using like iron tools here. Electricity doesn't exist. Building something like this would be nigh impossible. See, I feel like most of the top of this mountain is going to be removed. I want to keep the basis of it right? So, like, okay. If this is sort of the floor level of the castle right here, right? So we have, like, the castle entrance. So this will be gatehouse into, the gatehouse probably be a little further forward, maybe. Just having another, the thing is, you want choke points. Choke points, amazing. If you ever played any shooter game of any kind, if you played any game that involves killing people of any kind, I want to see where the entrance is. Hold on, I actually haven't seen it from here. Oh, there it is. It is pretty cool. We kind of have a path going all the way to here. Choke points, amazing. This entire castle is nothing but choke points. Right? You have a giant tunnel. That's just a choke point. You have two giant bridges. Choke points. You are bottlenecking. You have a bottleneck into a bottleneck into a bottleneck into a bottleneck. I mean, at some point, if we're the thing with bottleneck is after the first one, it doesn't matter, right? Flow has slowed. Like you've limited. Like if you make a bottle, make it the most fucked up bottle imaginable. All right, you've got like entry into the bottle, and then you got like the bottle itself, right? And you're sort of flowing liquid through it. If you make another bottleneck here, that's not going to change anything, right? You've already slowed the amount of water going in here that it can't. Nothing else can happen, but it'll slow more probably because it like widens out, and that's like whatever. Point is, this is built to be just completely impenetrable, right? The first layer of defense is more than any castle could ever have without terrain like this, which does not really exist. I mean, somewhere on Earth, something like this exists, right? The problem is they're usually in the fucking middle of a goddamn mountain range. Little bit hard to use. But it's Minecraft. So it goes mountain range into straight into just plains on two sides. This would actually be your one invasion worry would be here, because this is very flat, right? It is missing the jagged peaks of everywhere else. Also, look at that. You have foes in the distance. And these slopes seem pretty light. Never mind. Nope, you're good. Never mind. Yeah, you're good, actually. Yeah. No, I think you're good. But even if they did get up this, your tower's right there. You can just see them. So you're good. Once again, you basically run into the weakness of every castle, which is just one fucking guy who comes in at normally, just some dude who's like, hey, I'm a blacksmith or a peasant or a farmer. I guess a lot of those are the same things, actually. I just have business here. And they get through all the defenses. And then they maybe get into the castle to speak with their lord. And they, like, stab you 8 times in the throat or something. I don't know. Major weakness of every castle is just it's getting one guide. Just like every Twitch streamer. Just that one dude being like, hey, you're muted. That's the true weakness. Hordes of people, it's fine. Deal withable. In fact, built to be dealt with. The brain of a streamer can read a horde of chat, but the one dude being like, yeah, it's too loud, when everyone else is like, yeah, it's good, that's the one you focus on. That's the problem. That's the weakness. Always the weakness. Maybe more bridges. Maybe. Because I want to use this. Is beautiful. But maybe like a rope bridge here. Because if we're following the concept built in the Eyrie, the actual entry to the castle of the Eyrie is super fucking dangerous. You need donkeys to go up, like well-trained donkeys. And it takes like 8 hours. That's a lie. It takes like 14 hours to get from the bottom of the mountain to the top. But if you get halfway down in 6 hours, you're making great goddamn time. So making all of this dangerous is completely fine. There's also a nice flat area here. And so maybe this would be the entry? That would be pretty cool. Once again, following the Eyrie, there's 2 entrances into the Eyrie. Once you actually get to the castle and Sky. Once you get to Sky, there are 2 ways up. There's a fucking terrifying staircase, or there's an elevator. I mean, it's like, it's a bucket tied to a fucking rope, but that's close enough. So maybe actually the path goes this way, and like this is the first gatehouse. I mean, there could be another gate. Fuck it, who cares? All of the gates. I just think this is like naturally here, right? You kind of like break this out a little more, and then you kind of have just like a natural moat of some kind right here. Maybe even like a river flowing down this way. Kind of down, yeah, down there. Hold on. Write this out. I got like a waterfall going down here, kind of following the natural ebb and flow of land. Kind of into this, past that emerald, down, 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 down. Wow, yeah. Look at this. This is like it was built for a fucking waterfall. Oh yeah. And so that way, there's a reason to have a bridge here that isn't just, I want more bridges. More bridges. Then you have, okay, kind of taking, okay, in case you haven't noticed, Game of Thrones is really inspiring to me because it has a lot of like realism in many ways. Maybe this is like a nice pond. Like a natural spring. A pond. And it always has been very inspiring to me. Like I've got Bill in a different world that's based off the twins. It's nowhere near done. Building a river big enough to need a castle bridge across it is really fucking hard, especially when it's in the nether and out of lava. Kind of just triplicating on difficulty. But one of the more interesting things that one of the castles has, the Red Keep of King's Landing, is Maegor's Holdfast, which is, there's like the castle keep, and then within it, a second moat in the castle into a second keep. Obviously, this like wouldn't really keep anyone out except for the fact that this water would be fucking freezing and there's nowhere to go, right? This is pretty, like, this can be made steeper. This will sort of come out like, sort of, you know, kind of come out this way a little bit. Pretty rough estimate here, but what am my idea? I feel like everybody ever has wanted to build, like, every now and again, actually a lot of times when playing Minecraft, there's beautiful terrain, you're like, I need to do something with this. What the hell do I do with it? And you never quite figure it out. You know, like you see it and you're like, I'll do something with this. And so if it's like a server, you're like, nobody touch this shit, I want to do something cool with it. But do any of us ever actually do something cool with it? No, we never do. And I'm a big survival mode player. I rarely play creative. But also, you know, I have limits and schedules to keep. I know it's horrific. I have things I need to do on a daily basis. Ugh. But I do not have time to gather resources for all of this. And even if I wanted to, I'd still probably plan this out. It just in some capacity. Like, I'm not a huge build planner, but it's a good thing to do traditionally. Oh, that looks pretty good. I'm kind of just cover with some snow. You even have the snow like come out further, right? So you can kind of have like a bit of an overhang of snow building up and almost like drooping off in a way. That doesn't look very good. Snow does crazy shit on mountain. I don't know if any of you have ever been on top of a mountain when it's snowy. Crazy stuff. Remember, I was climbing I was doing a 14er. It was a lot of fun, very interesting. And below us, like it was sort of like it wasn't really a cliff face necessarily, but it was sort of like, you know, like a thin path that was sort of the whole mountain. And kind of off down to the side, there was a huge snowbank. That's all it was. It was just a snowbank. There was nothing underneath it necessarily. It was just like filling up, almost a gully like this, right? But it was just like flat across the, like it became just completely filled with snow, being held onto by nothing but friction and snow. Pretty cool. It was also like mid-July or something. You're at 13,000 feet. It doesn't fucking matter. Trees don't even grow up there. You think snow's gonna give a shit? No. It also wasn't even that cold. Like, it was like 60 degrees up there. It was nice. I've been meaning to do another one for a long time. I just never gotten around to it. Sort of something you need to plan pretty far ahead. I'm bad at that. Let's see here. I feel like I want this to be a rope bridge of some kind. Maybe actual bridge. I don't know. Bridge. This will go across. Other side of the bridge. This will be paved down. Make way for a path. Bunch of emeralds. Is this the... That's hitboxes. H? No. T is that one. Ah, whatever. I remember chunk borders. And then it kind of comes alongside here. Here. Maybe another gatehouse? One's the gate? Nope. Not hate. Gate. The waterfall here. Oh, this doesn't go all the way through. Okay, so hopefully this was like... Oh, it is kind of a floating port. I guess I could like break through here. Game of spectator. Oh, can you go further? There we go. Or like hollow this out some, then have like a waterfall here, and that'd be pretty cool. And then I guess the path would. Path follows this. Maybe a watchtower here. Pretty good spot for one, actually. tower. You know, grab the other side. At about this height, this would give you basically be running a panopticon, and then there'll probably be a tower here on this giant spire. That, or maybe that'll be the Great Hall. Kind of starting here, going back this way. Or like Great Hall, maybe tower here. We'll figure that out. Some big here. I mean, kind of looks like it even has like a chimney already. Most of this stone will be removed. Like 80% of the mountain will be flattened. Probably from about this level up will functionally be flattened. 'Tis the nature of building. Then you kind of get up here. And then right here, you have elevator up. Elevator in. Which just makes it safer again. Because it's kind of like having a ladder into something. Yes, if someone's at the bottom, you can't come down, but they can't get up. So, you know, the solid trade-off. Because if you just pull up the elevator, what are they gonna do? Build a ladder to get up? Just knock it over or shoot them. I don't know. There's an awful lot of solutions, and most of them are shoot the people. Really effective way of stopping somebody from doing something. Can't do it if they're dead or incapacitated because you shot them. Very effective. Only use in cases where that is legally advisable. Which, in like 89% of the world, it's not. But if you're in America, still rarely advisable. I guess if you have like make your day laws or something. Okay. Most of the ore on the mountain is gone. Gravel's fine. Texturing is always good. I need to figure out like theme. Right, like it's being called Castle Frostmourne, which is pretty gothic, right? Probably will not be a friendly castle necessarily. I mean, nobody's building on top of a mountain and being like, yeah, you know, I wanted to build a warm and inviting home. You are probably an evil wizard. Or from the family Aaron. And just want somewhere really defensible. And cool. I don't imagine that was their main reason, but it is very cool. That's probably why George R. R. Martin wrote it that way. It's because he's like, wow, that would be really cool. I wonder how much of Game of Thrones was inspired by Dungeons and Dragons campaigns Martin was. Probably a significant portion. I have to imagine, right? And then I wonder how many Dungeons and Dragons campaigns Game of Thrones has inspired. Probably just millions. Easy. I mean, I know of one off the top of my head. Because it was televised, technically. It was streamed. As it was on a streaming service. Does that count as being streamed? It wasn't live. It just depends on your definition of I like this, like, cutout a lot. It'd be really interesting to give professional, well, I guess they are professionals. Professional builders this, like 10 different people this. Like, okay, build something here. I feel like castle would be very commonly built because obviously this is the perfect place for a castle. But could be a number of the volcano. Be another good one. Have a cool volcano place. I feel like whatever it is, it would be dark and foreboding though. Very, very. This is like very cool, but it has that the same kind of cool as like. Oh, that's sneezing. Ugh, that's not cool at all. That's just lame. Ugh. It has the same kind of cool as like the Grand Canyon. Oh, that's maybe like the top of Everest, where there's something so beautiful about it, but also something fundamentally terrifying about it. Right, like if you were actually here, right, this is 300 to 500 feet up, probably. I see that. What block mount? Where is? Oh, why did they change the F3 screen so much? Seriously, it's a nightmare. Yeah, I don't know. You're probably 300 to 500 feet up. That's a long goddamn way. That is very far. All right, so basically we have the whole castle plan. We have the whole way to the castle plan. We have from the very entrance to exit the tunnel, which then will sort of creep along the side of the mountain using classic mountainside paths, sort of coming to here, where I'll make a nice little flat area. And this will be the beginning of the bridge across. All these paths will probably just cut into the mountain like this. Just like the real ones, except these will all be made of stone because snow is not... Do not walk on snow that is just on the side of a mountain. Really bad idea. Just fundamentally. You got bridge across. You then get here. This path will definitely be different. It'll probably actually curve to the side. Right, so it'll be like this. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. That's a little more natural. And I curve to the side. Go around here, I think. No, I think it'll go up right here. So kind of curve to the side. Up. Connect up to about the same spot. And it will probably switch back up this. To just like this kind of whole area. And then you come around. That's just done for make your line look good. And then you walk across this bridge through the actual like castle. This will be what separates the town from the castle. Right, so kind of this whole area, I think the actual path will probably keep going this way. And then this will sort of be like the edge. And all of this is sort of just like normal town stuff. You know, so you kind of go like here into a nice lookout over this waterfall. You sort of have a building here, 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 here. Maybe even like larger one there, here, here, one here. I want this one to be like, I don't know, like a little wizard tower maybe. I mean, that'd be two towers pretty close to each other. Maybe the library, that'd be interesting. And then everything else is castle. Or maybe, oh wait, that's a nice little plateau. Maybe the path actually keeps going down. There's like a little cave here that kind of goes past the waterfall. And then this path runs along and down here to this spot, which could be, I guess, another watchtower. This would definitely cover a couple of blind spots. Actually, would it? Nope. That doesn't need to be a watchtower. This watchtower might actually be able to see that one. Oh, no, there's a little bit of a thing in the way. Yeah, that would... Oh, wait, never mind. You can see it. That flat spot. Well, assuming it's just this tall. And you just barely can't see it. That could be a watchtower or something. I don't know. But I want it to feel like... Also, this looks pretty good. The top's too flat, but that'll become a running theme, I think. Will be sort of like... Maybe I should fill that in, too. So maybe this comes out a little more over here. Then you get into the castle, right? So this is direct demarcation of this begins the castle. Everything from this point forward is nobility. This is all noble property. Never mind. Oh, this way. Red or black wool. I've got my name stuff. Shit, the purple was destroyed. That's fine. Whatever. I know. This is all. Because it is... Actually, yeah, the rest of the mountain is basically fucking uninhabitable. Right, this is definitely the most, like, inhabitable spot other than where the gate is right here. This is the single flattest spot. So that might actually be a building. It won't be a town building. It'll be a castle built. Maybe the barracks will be right there. I want them to be somewhere. Maybe this will be like a one big flat area. Right? Maybe this will be like the garden in a way. I definitely want a God's Wood. Maybe even right here. Right, so that would be, I guess, agriculture. Oh, wait. Maybe one of the other colors. Make pink. Oh, castle does. Is my anvil around? Or did I get rid of it? Yeah, it's gone. Oh, I have it in my inventory. Yes! Oh, I'm a genius. Alright. You know what? I'll put the anvil where the blacksmith shop is going. The castle smith. which was here. This is where the castle smith is. Will be decor slash. Yeah, this will be decor. Awesome. Castle will be the forge. Sort of using the power of the mountain itself. It'll probably cover most of it. Sort of this. Perfect. And then I guess the path will actually be. I'll figure out castle layout later. Not important right now. Yeah, and I think basically this whole area, like this might be flattened out. Yeah, because there's already a waterfall here, so having another one here would be a lot. Kind of making this like a courtyard where people sort of train and whatnot. Okay. Here. Here, this will sort of be the bit of a cutoff between courtyard. That's a pretty good amount of space. But I mean, the rest of this just is not. I mean, look at this. This is 5. This is like 12 feet across. Not enough. Why is there still a waterfall on my mountain? Was there a second water source inside this waterfall? God damn. You can tell it's a waterfall because there's dead grass. Just dirt. God, it just covers so much. Any other tricky water sources I didn't know about? Nope, seems fine. Awesome. Yes, this will probably be the one waterfall. One of 3 waterfalls remaining. Fucking Minecraft water physics, they're the worst. Covering that, I guess. I mean, look at this. What the fuck? How does this even... I think about it. Here, I can stand up. Oh, what a nightmare. The amount of times I've had to basically completely reset an entire build and what I was doing with it because the water decided to just not agree. Just decided, you know what? That's a cool plan you got there, man. Oh, I didn't mean I was gonna follow. I was gonna do my own shit, actually. Horrific. Like a complete overhaul of water physics. Just fantastic. Oh, got it. Beautiful. Oh my god. Oh, Minecraft, your water physics hurt me deep inside my soul. Move my intended path down by one. Natural looking. Okay. Heal really quick. Let all the water reset. Putting your blue wool. I feel like my priorities are wrong in this. I don't think the waterfall is really important when the fundamental structure of the castle hasn't been decided yet. But god damn it. It's too late for that. I've already started working on this waterfall. Sure as hell ain't gonna stop now. Also because, you know, if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. Perfect. Here. There. Look at that. Actually, hang on. I'm gonna change the amount of stone here. I want you to be able to see from above that this is the same river. Now if you're like right here like that, you can see it's the same waterfall. Beautiful. And right here, like somewhere around here wouldn't be the most unreasonable viewpoint either, because not only would looking at the castle from right here So you probably have to be about here. Give you the bridge across on the bottom right, but you would be able to see immediate gatehouse, barrack, or I mean, what was originally the barracks, but is now just a watchtower. It's the courtyard, maybe a little bit of the elevator. You'd see the bridge across above the waterfall and the whole waterfall. And you'd see the bulk of the castle. Great spot. I keep doing that because I kind of want to think of goat horns as like something that's used in this area, you know? Because, I mean, look at it. It's signal fires wouldn't be particularly helpful. You're too close. You could just go, oh no, there's intruders. Everyone knows there's intruders. You're covering the whole thing, and it would like reverberate. Everybody would know. It would be great. You just need horns that sound different for different things. Or you just have horns that mean just intruders. Because with all the echoing, it would be impossible to tell how many blasts there were. None of this one for... What is it? The Night's Watch. 1 for Brothers Returning, 2 for Wildlings, 3 for the Others or White Walker. Alright, so immediate entry to the castle, which will be right here. I feel like first, probably cutting this down. Would be good. Kind of start with something a little more building shaped. At some point I should learn how to use World Edit. That's probably good. How many damn emeralds? Maybe I'll use that in something. That's where all their wealth came from, mining emerald. Alright, so we have here, sort of. Basically, also you're wondering why I'm bad at placing blocks in Funny Block Game, my mouse likes to double click. It's incredibly annoying. I don't know why it does that. Oh, perfect. Look at that. The terrain itself is giving me the size I should make things. Isn't that nice of it? Oh my god, mouse, please. Oh my god. Yeah, that's a little thick. But I think kind of having the building like you always want shape in building, right? You don't want just like a big rectangle. That looks bad. I think maybe along like this and then out. Yeah, I think that's a good. Sort of have it going out here. Already decided that that's where that is, but this will simply. Oh my god, there's so many emeralds in this mountain. Also, important note, never be afraid of asymmetry. Right, where this edge of this cutout is, I think, a little smaller. That's fine. Right now to clear all of this. Ew. I think I need to be standing. Still. I can't. Coordinates. Still. -1, 6, 3, 2, 1, 1, -1, 5, 8. Here. Bonk. Very good. Maybe a steep roof. Always a fine line when making a roof like this, or it becomes far, far too steep. Or you can do sort of like a start steeper, goes thinner. Also works. I think the building itself is too. A little bit shorter. I managed to make this 1.5, but I cannot show that with wool. Unfortunate. Also, this is hearsay, but I heard that a certain man known by the name Jens, or Jeb, while watching Hightail content, may have altered his view on the vertical half slab. Big news, if true. Yeah, there we go. Then we got entrance hall. This will definitely be a 1.5 roof rather than a full 2. It's simply not large enough for a full 2. Full 2 roofs are, that's a serious damn roof. Full like 2 full block steepled roof. That's a lot of roof, man. I can make it work if I need to, but if I don't need to, why would I? Alright, so here. No. Maybe this will actually be like a one roof here. No, that wouldn't fit very well. we go. 2 roof. 2 roof. 2 roof. Yes. Very good. I'm very glad both of those end in 2 block centers. That was eyeballed. That probably should not have worked. So this will be the entrance hall. Maybe a little bit big, but, you know, these kind of things can be ironed out. Damn jumping goat. So you come up, like right here. Oh, block, 2 blocks off. Well, actually, I was square root of 2 blocks off because it's a diagonal, not a square. Which that the hypotenuse there, root 2. That's square root 2 meters off. You kind of come up right here. Isn't the best spot. I'll probably, if I move it over. Okay, so if this is actually the elevator, and it's centered right here, which would be nice. This sort of being like a nice entry alcove. Stepping up by 1 block is actually really annoying. That I'm going to fix. Originally, I was gonna be like, no, the asymmetry is fine, In fact, it might even look good. But the fact that it's so little, if it was like a large difference, like if it was like 5 or 6 blocks, like, okay, it's clearly intentional. Right? Like an asymmetry of several blocks, intentional, great, amazing. If it's asymmetry of like a block or less, well, it can't really be less. If an asymmetry of a block, then it's probably just gonna feel accidental and bad. Hot tip. Actual elevator. Slightly different spot. Bump. Bump. Big. And a 2x2 elevator makes more sense. That 1x1 was just, you know, just for marking's sake. Alright. So then, you are now in the castle proper. So, kind of. This is our center blocks. Oh, English works. Center block here. Then you got your door. Into... Where would you go next after the entry hall? This is sort of where I was thinking Great Hall. Right, so you sort of have entry hall into sort of the longer Great Hall. Let's see, how would this look? Alright, so you have the Great Hall will probably start about here. I go along this and here will probably be the Great Hall. It would actually be smaller than the entry hall, but that's fine because the entry hall could also be barracks, right? So you have like the entry hall sort of this is your corner. That means from the corner, you kind of cut here. Here. And then sort of the rest of the building is barracks. That'd be good, I think. Entry hall. That way, because the thing is, right, you want your protectors to be able to leave the quickest, because ideally, the nobles should never have to leave the castle. Right, so this will be Great Hall, which I think will actually probably go out back maybe further. Right, so instead of ending like here, because that lines up too much with the entry hall, maybe even pulling it back a little further. And then having, let's see, the ground will be the same level. That's this level here. Let me go back, cool, here. Certainly be a great hall, won't it? It'll be more than that, I think. It'll just be like the main building of the keep. So this will, in fact, contain the Great Hall, which will... actually, I want the distance. Will either be 0 or more than 1. It'll be 0. But I will build in tolerance. Okay, keep going. And then, yeah, I think the Great Hall will stop around. Yeah. I know I could be building more, like, into the mountain, but if I'm being honest, if I was going to build into the mountain more, I think I'd want, like, a cave of some kind. I think here's going to be another large building. I think this will sort of be... maybe the area around the Godswood? Something like that. As you sort of have like Godswood here. I guess it doesn't need to be... the only reason the Godswood is protected is because it's supposed to be like private and truly natural. I'll figure that out. That comes later. I can do so much at one time. And perfect. So I was thinking the Great Hall might cut itself off here. And then kind of modeling after this, have like a tower on the edge. Kind of where my thought process is. More fucking emeralds? Good God, man. I don't think I've ever found... I don't build or do anything in mountain ranges because they're kind of a pain. I've also never found this many fucking emeralds before. There's more! Good God. You're gonna start pissing me off with how many fucking emeralds there are. Oh, the Great Hall will go. this way. There will be much terraforming to do, that is for sure. And then I think the tower coming up the Great Hall will be mayhaps the Wizard's Tower? Perhaps the Rookery? Because I definitely want a Rookery. I want something to show, hey, this place can, in fact, communicate with the outside world. It's sort of like putting cell phone towers in modern builds. It's some way of showing, don't worry, I was considering logistics. How am I feeling about that side? Oh yeah, that will this maybe even longer. Ooh, how am I feeling about longer? I feel like I was gonna go longer. I'd go longer at the back. Yeah, I was gonna go longer. I'll go longer at the back. Honestly, the problem will be kind of bridging this area right here, but I'll figure that out. Also because pillars are always an option. Buttresses, always an option. A lot of ways you can build. And I'll put the tower there. There we go. That looks better. And then sort of connected, but slightly separate. Oh, wait, does this have a 2-block center? 2, 2, 2. If not, I'll need to make it wider because everything's gonna be on a 2-block center. It's not. Oh man, I even wonder if I wanted to go one wider on this side. Damn it. So close to eyeballing another 2-block center. I mean, it's a 50-50 every time you do it, so. Oh yeah, I think with the tower being so far out, I think I'll make it the Rookery. Oh. And this will sort of lead into all this 6. No. 2 out 1, 2 blocks, 4. Ooh, no. 4. Because this isn't supposed to be like some grand tower necessarily. Well, I guess the Rookery usually is with the arch, with the Maester. So I guess it's not necessarily supposed to be like. That should be up against. Yeah, having it out doesn't really make any sense. But I think those are pretty good proportions. One, two, three, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 4. 2, 2, 4. I'm getting worse at Minecraft every moment. That's the secret challenge. Build a Minecraft castle while you're slowly getting worse at Minecraft. Still, why does it sometimes give command? Like, why does it sometimes be like, "Yep, here's exactly the numbers you want," and other times it's like, "Nope." Oof. Because I'll do this in multiple trips. Oh my god. Oh. Oh, because it was the block I was looking at, wasn't it? Interesting. Maybe? I don't know exactly why I did that, actually. Yeah, that doesn't overly make sense, but that's fine. Oh, you know what? I do think it's actually the block you're looking at, but it runs that command off of, which is a huge pain in the ass. Is that it? Hold on. Oh, yeah, it's the block you're looking at. All right, Minecraft, whatever you say, man. Whatever you say. Go to some of the emeralds. It'll be interesting to know how many emeralds there are in this mountain. Golly. But it has been many. There's so many. There. Still. That block. Perfect. Oh, it's just a little bit. Now, this one will probably have a full two. Color. Probably to there. This should impose over truly everything. And then you're good. Once you're when you're a great hall, the main building of your keep is, well, looks like the main building of your keep. You know you're good. Otherwise, it just kind of, it'll just kind of feel like another building. It needs to be the biggest building. It needs to be, this is the one, right? This building felt big. This one will just be big. It'll be very rectangular, but that's fine. Fortunately, the whole castle is one thing, right? I'm calling things like the Great Hall, but they're technically the same building. They're just, you know, differentiated in a more metaphorical way. That's not true. They're not literally different buildings. They're just different sections of the same building. Oh, getting the speed clicking in. Jeez. Yeah, these is okay. Now, how tall? I want the roof. Maybe I go 3 for the first bit. What level am I at? 240. Oh, I got fucking miles, dude. Man, back when build limit was 350, 256. Ugh. Impossible to do anything, I swear to God. You find like a cool place, and suddenly you're just like, okay, well, what do I do now? This place is really cool, but Minecraft simply will not allow me to build this much. I'm worried that if I go all 3 block, it'll be too much. No, actually, this is a fucking gigantic. Wait a minute. It'll be fine. Now, I am trying to be vaguely reasonable about this building, about this castle. Not completely reasonable, obvious. I've mentioned several times in several ways how almost impossible doing anything of any scale with this sort of geologic formation is nigh impossible. Just because you're just working with, first, you're at the damn top of the world. It's hard to work up there. It's exhausting. I've done it many times. Very tiring to work at such elevations. That feels like it's gonna be way too fucking tall. Holy shit, that is way too fucking tall. What the fuck? Yeah, that just gotta be 2 blocks the whole way. Yo, what? Bee? Where the hell did that bee come from? Probably is in a beehive for like 100 blocks. Any direction. And that's not even counting elevation. That's just left and right. Okay, 2 blocks. If 2 blocks doesn't feel right, maybe I'll do 2.5. Always an option. Half slabs are always good. Please, Mojang, give us vertical half slabs for the love of God. Oh, it'd be so nice. You know how much that would change? Like the core ethos of building would just fundamentally shift overnight. There's so many things you could do. Shaping a build would become so much easier. It can be so hard to give a build shape. Yeah, I'd like to be a little taller, probably. But I think that's fine. Okay. But I think right here will sort of be a secondary hall that'll kind of come into watchtower here. This will be a pretty sizable watchtower. Let's see. I think this one will actually be 6, maybe. Need to not run into the building. 6. Woo! 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Three, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Oh, that fits in. That fits in like a glove. Holy. I mean, do I actually want that further forwards? Yeah, maybe even further forwards and kind of centering it right here. That way it's kind of like off to the side. That is 2 towers really close to each other. But this is a far more natural spot for it. I do love how close that comes, but will look better elsewhere. This will also allow for revised sightline where tower will be. Let's put it. Put it up to. Oh, okay. Floor levels here. I think maybe putting the watchtower on something taller, trying to give this like verticality, right? Most of the main buildings will be right next to each other, right? They'll just be like built into each other. But I want this to be taller. I think I'll actually level this. And then let's see if it's 6 and do that. 6, 2, 1, and then those 2, and then 1. 11? Oh, wait. Hold on. I'm doing fucking. Oh, yes, that's correct. It is as a 2 blocks. Let's make things slightly different. And presuming we're going from right here. 1, 2. Here. Out from that. Hold on. Oh, God. All right. It's a middle block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6, 7. Here. 2, 2. Nope, I need to go one more. Two. And then 2. 2. Let's see. This. No, this won't interact with it. Two. 3. 3. 2. 1. You know, one thing that is very good to learn with building, how the hell do you build circles? It's very handy. It's good to be able to just freehand circles. And also not as hard as it sounds. Like, it feels like it should be almost impossible. But it's actually really easy. Like, for real. Like, all of the circles, completely freehand. I have no tool open. I'm just doing that shit with my brain. Alright, Alright, so primary watchtower here. That'll probably go up to here. Yeah, that'll give you good sight lines. Yeah, for sure. Especially because this hall will be shorter. Probably. I don't know how I'm going to do all the roofs for these, but I'll figure it out. And there's going to be... right there. Enter. Perfect. Goat. All right, well... I mean, that's a pretty damn good start right there. Look at all that. Look at all this wool. And do I have... oh, God. Why did they... Why the fuck did they change all the command names, Minecraft? Why did you do this? Oh, man. I'm so I've spent the last decade with the old commands. Why did you fucking change them? Like, where the fuck is fire tick? Like, I get why you would change that name because it doesn't, well, actually it does make sense, but only if you know a lot about Minecraft. Respawn radius, spawn mobs, spawn phantoms, spawn wardens, wandering traders. Oh, that's actually a good one to be able to turn off. Spawner blocks work. Spectators generate chunks. Oh, okay. Red vines, TNT explodes. Water source conversion, mob griefing, universal anger. What the? How the fuck do I turn off fire? I guess maybe it's game rule. Fire spread rates while player 0. Now. It shouldn't be able to spread at all, theoretically. Oh, flint and steel. Now if I light this on fire. Yeah, okay, so this is just fire tick, but worse? Like, but it makes way less sense. That was just a, does fire spread, a yes or no? Like, just making that true false makes a lot of sense. I guess I get why you'd have a radius for it. Because that allows you to still have things burn, but only if a player is nearby. I guess I understand that in a way. But I don't know. Yeah, I think this will be very cool. Well, I'm gonna end this here. Sort of half planned, but you know, that's pretty good. That's a pretty solid amount. Way more than I actually thought I would, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a follow or subscribe, depending on the platform you're on. And I'll stream again at some point. I always do. Just don't know when it'll be. The school year is shaping up to be tough. Oof. Yeah. Whenever that is, I'll see you then. Goodbye.